want you to be cautious and optimistic, obviously, but I also want you to understand that how you carry yourself in humility is going to be a pretty big issue in just even when things do go your way. Yesterday, Amy Coney Barrett was actually sworn in, and she's now a new Supreme Court justice. I think the last process happens today. That's fine. You know, that's an answer to prayer for a lot of people. But you got to understand that when you get your way, you don't be a jerk, dude. Don't gloat. Don't throw it out there like ha ha ha. You know, don't do that. I'm glad, and I try to keep it as simple as possible. And just like that, she's on the court. Okay, so she's on the court now. I want you to understand something, okay? And it's very, very simple to, especially for you people who are professing Christ, that sometimes when you're praying into God's will, and basically it's like, okay, it's happened. Then other times you're praying and things go against what you hope they would be. And are you willing to accept that as well? Are you willing to accept that, yeah, you know, what if it is God's will that things don't work out the way that I think that they should? Are you willing to accept that? That's a hard pill to swallow, because sometimes maybe things don't go your way. Sometimes things don't go the way that you hope they would. And you just never know. But I want you to be humble about it, and I want to ask you just to do that favor, like be humble about what happens with her, because we do need 9 judges, because we don't know what the heck's going to happen next week. We don't. You've already seen us being conditioned that the election won't be decided on November 3rd. You've seen the media actually try to condition America for that. So understand that's what their goal actually is. So you keep praying. But the big point that I want to say to you is this: you need to follow through. Okay? And this is what I think happened with the silent majority and conservatism. Crony capitalism, I think, took some big freaking chunks out of conservatism and made it into something it's not supposed to be. But also, a group of us who, you know, were really thought about America a certain way, positively, thought that we didn't need to say anything or need to stand up or need to be affiliated or putting our voices out there to be heard, because we just thought other people would do it. No, you need to do it. You need to actually go and vote. I'm turning my ballot in today, so I'm voting today. My wife's probably going to vote tomorrow. But you need to follow through. Don't think that just because you got Trump parades going on in California that it's already won. No, it's not won. You need to freaking fight the battle. Okay? Your grandparents, the ones that fought Hitler, the ones that fought Mussolini, the ones that went against Pol Pot, the ones that went, you know, all against these crazy people. You understand, they had to fight the battle to the last, and they put everything on the field. And I think you see that with our president right now. He's trying to put everything on the field. He's trying to leave it all out there so that there's no stone unturned, there's no rock that's not left pushed or whatever. You do your best and you follow through, okay? So follow freaking through. Get yourself voted, get yourself that sticker, and be done with it. But I want to bring something up to you as well about this Amy Coney Barrett and what took place. There are people out there who are very much against you being able to pray. If you know what a state church is, if you know what a state media is, these are institutions that give you rules and license according to their dictates, that you have to abide by what they say, how to pray and what to pray for and what can be said in the media. That's actually what you're finding in the big media: ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC. They didn't even cover, I think that they didn't even cover the Amy Coney Barrett swearing in, you know, the judgment yesterday, 52-48 yesterday on their network, because they don't want people to know. So when you're part of state media, folks don't want you to know information. And what you have to do is you have to realize that when you're praying, that there are people out there that don't want you to do so. This is what's so crazy about Marxism and control. The reason why Marxists, socialists, communists cannot afford people of faith to exist is because your faith goes against their power. Your faith goes against their ability to rule and to dictate what you need to do, what needs to be done, and how it should be done. It's authoritarian and totalitarian. And when you're praying, that is a grand, massive, major issue for someone that has control issues, which you see with these people that are Marxists that are kind of coming out the woodwork. It's very unfortunate, but that's what's actually happening. So when you're praying, understand this, okay? And I think this is what we actually miss with Kavanaugh. I don't think people really understood what was going to happen to homeboy when he was, when he was trying to be confirmed. I don't think any of us really knew what people were capable of until, you started seeing these accusations. They were holding him to a higher standard than what's even constitutionally possible. And these same people who were willing to tell him, well, you're going to a higher office, you are held to a higher account. They don't hold themselves to a higher account. How do I know that? Kamala Harris. She wouldn't be anywhere near a VP position if we were holding her to a higher account. I'll just keep that one to myself, though. So if you and I want to be real about what we're praying for, you got to understand that you may not get what you want, but you need to understand too that if you approach this with humility, you accept the results for what they truly are, and then you move on. But you do not give up on what your freedoms actually are, and you do not give up on the hope for freedom, because that's what you've been given. Your inalienable rights were not given by government; they were given by God, and that's actually what was written in our Constitutional Bill of Rights. So as you look in all the things that are happening right now in our world, understand that what took place with Kavanaugh was very different from what happened to Amy Coney Barrett, because the people that were doing it to Kavanaugh realized what that effect actually had on the Democrat Party. So that's why they're holding back to pack the court for their own purposes, to change justice into a political apparatus. That's what they're actually looking to do, which is unfortunate, but that's what they're looking to do. And when that happens, believe me, the folks that are advocating for it, they'll learn real quickly that they made the wrong decision. Because when you look back in the past, I've actually been having a real big debate with myself about this one meme I received. It's about this SS officers doing something to a kid, and it's about the abortion industry and how that abortion industry has actually been tied to Nazism. And even knowing what the abortion industry has actually done to the black population, while people keep screaming about Black Lives Mattering and stuff like that, it's oxymoronic. But I've been debating about posting this because I know it's going to trigger some people, because it really goes into what they believe is freedom, when in reality it's something much different. So when you're praying, think about this. Understand that there's people out there that have a worldview outside of yours, that they don't like your ability to do so, to pray. They want you to pray according to what they want. And they will do so, and they'll try to dictate to you according to what their standards are. And you have a different standard. You honor something different. There are Christians out there, supposed Christians out there, who abide by Marxian ideology because they've turned Christianity into a means and method of getting their way politically, according to liberation theology, black liberation theology, critical race theory. They've infused these things into the church. That's not where they belong. Those things belong in the freaking trash can, because they are trash. They're racial trash. They're ethnic trash. They're theological and theoretical trash. And they equate everything to society and liberating people from their biases and their privilege, while they themselves don't understand how arrogant their own statements are regarding these ideas about other people. It's pure arrogance. Pure arrogance. And there's no humility in it. But I want you to understand this, okay? As you are a person on the couch and you are claiming Christ, be humble about when you get a victory. Be humble about it. And I want you to understand this, because you will not always get those victories. You won't always get them. But when you do, understand that, yeah, something's working in your favor. And you need to pray, but you need to follow through with what your freedoms actually are. Do not sleep on that. Don't be like the past. These folks, people in the past, in the 70s and 80s, they let academia get taken over by a bunch of crazy freaking people who are socialist, Marxists, and communists. And these folks are just destroyed the education system, and are destroying it right now. They're destroying great minds, these young minds. And now as you sit back, don't be like them in the past that let those things come to pass because they were lazy. They didn't get out and actually do what they were supposed to do. Because the people on that couch, they are counting on you being lazy, on thinking that those parades mean something when they don't. It means you've got people who are around you who believe just like you, but y'all need to follow through. You need to come through for what you actually believe in. Take care.